welcome to Gutter Trash episode 182, Cleveland. My name is Eric.
I'm Jason.
How's it going?
Excellent. Other than, being baked.
Baked?
I'm so hot. No, it's just super hot.
It is incredibly hot out. I do not enjoy it.
We're not fans of the hot weather.
No, not at all.
We like to be pasty nerds.
Well, I'm not pasty, naturally.
Right.
By nature, I am not pasty. But, I don't like going outside when the sun's out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're goth.
We are kind of goth.
Right straight to the heart.
We are both wearing our Cure makeup and black nail polish right now.
Yeah. We were practicing for our Joy Division cover band just before this.
Yep.
It's coming along pretty nicely.
It is. I think we're doing some neat stuff.
Yeah. I really don't know about your introduction of a harpsichord. Not a harpsichord, but an accordion where the harpsichord should be. But
Right. Well, again, why be in a cover band if you're just going to do it note for note?
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Let's introduce some new elements. Let's shake it up a bit.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not looking forward to summer starting.
No. I know it's like a month away and it's already like in the high 80s.
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy.
It is. Not a fan. Not a fan. I do like fans, though. That's why Chauncey is on.
Chauncey's awesome.
Yeah.
Chauncey's the fan that looks like a man.
Robotic man.
Yeah, like something from like a 70s sci-fi show that's set like in the 2030s.
Right, yeah.
Kind of like that. Like a Cylon, sort of.
Yeah.
Like an old school midget Cylon.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah. I could see a Chauncey being incorporated for parts and like as an old school Doctor Who villain or something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Like a cousin of a Dalek or something like that.
Yeah. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I didn't know what you meant when you said whatever you said. Okay. Now we're even.
Awesome.
Cleveland. The Mistake by the Lake.
That's what they called it, yeah. That's too bad.
Yeah.
It's not a catchy title. I mean, it's catchy, but it's not a title you
want to have.
Right.
Yeah.
If you are the city of Cleveland.
Right. So, have you ever been to Cleveland?
Yes, I have.
Have you enjoyed it?
I enjoyed it immensely, actually.
Really?
But I was only there for like 24 hours.
Okay.
I went to a Cleveland Art Museum while I was there, and saw they had like some really good like armor on display. This was like this is probably 10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And I looked at the art museum and
so
then,
2002.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I don't know. Somewhere in there.
Right.
Somewhere between 1995 and 2010. It's kind of a blur. And then we went and saw Fu Manchu. That's the reason I went to Cleveland, just to see Fu Manchu play live. And it was awesome. Yeah. Have you ever been to Cleveland?
I've been twice.
Yeah.
Spent like 4 days there with a friend of mine who was living up there at the time. In his cramped little apartment.
Okay.
And had a good time. We didn't really do a ton of things, but still kind of fun.
So you saw more of like the neighborhoods and things like that.
Yeah. He had to work one day while I was up there. He was interning at Alternative Press magazine.
Wow.
So I got to hang out at AP for a while.
Cool.
And, befriended their office cat, a giant, apparently evil cat named Ogre.
Yeah.
Who became my friend.
Aww.
And everybody was absolutely shocked.
You befriended an ogre.
I did. And I kind of used it also as an excuse to bug the graphic design department and learn some stuff since I was currently enrolled in art school. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then went up there another time. Only spent like a day there. And I really didn't do anything because I was for a job interview. So basically, yeah, I was in downtown Cleveland in a hotel for most of the time.
All right.
And then, off to a nearby suburb for a job interview, and then back to Dayton.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So neither one of us have spent a great deal of time in Cleveland.
Nope. One thing I did notice was that it smells terribly.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't notice. I was with, some hippie friends. And
Okay,
I assumed
you
it
all
was just
smell
them.
right? Yeah. Yeah, Cleveland has an odor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very, like a blue-collar kind of odor? Like a factory kind of thing?
Like a fishy kind of odor.
Ooh,
Like a rotten fishy kind of odor.
Huh.
Like a sewagey kind of odor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I missed it. But, I don't know.
Again, you were hanging out with hippies. Right?
Yeah. We were actually eating sardines out of cans. And
But, I didn't see much of it, but, I enjoyed the one trip, mostly because I was hanging out with my friend and we did weird things.
it seems like a town that I would visit more often if it wasn't like, it's, it's in the same state as us, but it's like 4 hours away or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's much easier to hit Cincinnati or Columbus if we want to hit the big city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If we want to get out of the cornfields for a weekend. So, yeah. So, speaking of Cleveland, though.
Yeah. This is what we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this is a stroke of luck that we happen to be talking about the city which has the same name as the book we're reviewing.
Right. Well, because the book is about Cleveland.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Kind of.
Yeah. The first third of it is definitely about Cleveland.
Yeah, it's a pretty good historical account of how Cleveland was built. And
If by pretty good you mean, it is one, then yes.
Well, okay, well, jump in there. I thought that was, usually, I don't know, I'm not really a history buff at all. So I don't really, I know I sound like an idiot, but I don't really care how things got to be the way they are.
Right.
Because I live right now, and I enjoy...
You live in the moment.
I live in I'm very of the moment. Ask any lady. No, I don't know. I'm just not really into the history of things, like the way back history of things.
Right.
But I thought that was really interesting, the way that it showed how everything was built up, and you kind of did get a sense of I don't know, like if Cleveland was a character, you got a sense of the character's origin,
Right. Well, Cleveland is a character in this story. I hate that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Who was your favorite character in Star Wars? The Death Star. Because if you think about it, he felt the most sadness.
Anyway.
Yeah.
You were saying something before.
No, I was just saying, I really did. I think that was one of the more enjoyable parts for me was, because, the first, fourth or fifth of the book is, the history of Cleveland.
Right.
And it really does, it shows, them picking the site to build the city and, all the way up until, the present. And I thought it was really well done as far as giving you an idea of, how this city kind of went up and down over the years and, how it began. And I thought that was really neat.
It was interesting. I did learn some things. So,
Yeah.
But again, I mostly, I do like history. I like learning how things happened occasionally. When I'm interested in the subject matter,
Well, okay, yeah, I enjoy reading, the history of things I like.
Right,
Generally, I would never be interested in the history of Cleveland.
Right.
But, if it was, the history of some band I really liked or
Right.
something, I would read about how that happened. But
Right. And, in general, I think I'm fascinated a little bit by history and how things did happen, even if I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's not something that, I'm looking for when I'm reading something on a leisurely Sunday afternoon.
Right, yeah. Well, but I don't think that would have really worked if, this whole book would have been, the history of Cleveland.
Right, yeah.
But,
and I was really afraid it was going to be.
Right, yeah. Well, yeah, I started to think that at first, too, because, he was kind of really going into like the history of Cleveland.
Right.
But then I was like, okay, well, it's moving along a little faster, and this book's kind of thick, so.
He does skip decades at a time occasionally.
Right. If it would have been like, and then in the 1870s, like,
right, yeah.
Like
a year by year accounting, yeah.
Yeah, even if it would have been like a third of this book, it would have been too much,
right?
You know, but I think it just served to build up, you know, the kind of like atmosphere that Harvey Pekar, because he was born there and he lived there and he died there,
right?
So it kind of like built up the, you know, the whole atmosphere of his life,
right? So that leads, I think, maybe into one of my problems with this book, is that he jumps around a lot.
back and forth, right?
Like back and forth, like he'll be... And I guess in a way it's sort of conversational in the way he's doing it, but you're reading a narrative, it's really annoying.
Yeah,
and I feel sympathy for all of our listeners because I'm sure that's what happens when they listen to us. But at least you're not reading us.
Yeah, can you imagine reading this?
But yeah, he'll be on one topic and then suddenly he'll just like switch to another thing for seemingly no reason, and then he'll eventually he'll jump back in the past again,
right?
And occasionally even repeat things that he said.
Yeah.
It really hung me up a couple times.
It seems like that. I mean, like maybe you're right. Maybe it is just his conversational voice, because it seems like that's not the first time I haven't read like even a third of his library of
right.
output, but I have read a bunch of American Splendors, and it seems like that's not the first time I've noticed that too. But yeah, it tripped me up once or twice because he was like, you know, he would jump ahead and talk about something, and they'd be like, but back then this happened,
right.
and you're like, why bother? Because it wasn't integral to the next story that he told that he would, you know, jump ahead and back. So yeah, it was a little. But yeah, I mean, maybe that's just the way he talks, and he just, you know, wrote it conversationally.
Right.
But I agree with you on that one.
Right. Otherwise, I mean, I didn't love it. I also have not. I'm sure you've read a ton more American Splendor or anything that he's written than I have.
I really haven't read a ton. I mean,
well, I'm going to tell you what I have read.
Yeah.
This book.
Yeah.
And maybe 2 stray issues of the DC Comics American Splendor.
The Vertigo one?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, I've read a little more than that, but I mean, like, I read the Vertigo miniseries, like the ones that like Dean Haspel and those guys drew.
Right.
And then when I was a kid, I remember my brother had, because American Splendor in the like late 80s, the first time I ever saw it was like a magazine-sized comic.
Mm-hmm.
And my brother had a few copies of it, and I remember we were watching David Letterman one night, and you know, because anybody who's seen like the American Splendor movie knows the whole David Letterman story. Like he was on David Letterman promoting his comics, and they had this sort of weird sort of interaction with each other all the time.
Right.
And like it ended terribly, like on his like 8th appearance or something. But they sort of had the same sort of like back and forth that like Charles Grodin and David Letterman had, if you ever saw those episodes. Yeah. This awkward sort of, you know, like pseudo. It's almost like when Don Rickles is on a show, like you sort of think they hate each other, but at the same time, you know that they don't. But apparently, my brother was a big fan because he saw him on the show and he bought some of his comics and he loaned them to me to read, and I remember going, "Wow, this is so neat!" It was the first time I'd ever seen an autobiographical comic, and I was like, "This is so neat! It's like just about this guy." And I started reading them, and I thought they were very boring. Like it didn't hit me hard and like make me want to do autobiographical comics. Like if anything, I would have done them a lot sooner if I'd never read Harvey Pekar. But I remember one episode in particular, like I remember this so vividly, like it was yesterday, and this was like 20 years ago. I read this one where like the short story is like he goes to the gas station and he gets out and he, you know, puts the nozzle in his tank and he starts filling up the gas, and you see like the like numbers turning on the gas tank or on the gas machine, and then like he finishes putting his gas in there and he hangs up the pump and he gets back in his car and he drives away, and then you see the words "the end." And I read that and I was like, what? I mean, there was no like introspection or like if there was something like where you're supposed to glean from it like some sort of viewpoint, I totally missed it when I was a kid. But I remember thinking like, how boring is this? Like, is this really what this book is?
Right. Well, the few short stories that I've read in the Vertigo series, I think they were aimed to not really have a point, but to be at least entertaining in some way.
Right.
Because I enjoyed them.
Yeah.
I think this book has less of a point than any of those stories did. And I feel really bad saying that, because it is like one of the last things that he ever did.
Mm-hmm.
But because I have seen American Splendor, I love that movie. I think it's a great movie. But there's a big part of this book that is stuff that I already knew about
from the movie.
Right. Yeah. And it just sort of felt like he was just... This is more like other than the history of Cleveland stuff, it just seems like it's a sort of, this is a best of Harvey P.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, I totally agree with that too. Yeah, because like you said, it has a lot of the same elements from that, and even after I read this, I loaned this to you last week, and I was looking through just a pile of comics. I wasn't looking for any Harvey Picard stuff. I just happened to be looking through a pile of comics in my house, and I found an issue of American Splendor. And I was like, oh, I'll read this. Like, like maybe that'll flesh something out or whatever. And it had like some of the same exact stuff that's in here. I mean, of course, it's not the same story or anything, but it's like
just elements.
Yeah. And it's like, yeah, he did sort of kind of retread a lot of the same ground over the years, but I mean, literally, he retread the same ground over the years, because, like I said, he spent like 80 years in Cleveland, and, so, I mean, he does just kind of talk about the same things a lot.
And, I mean, he, other than sort of weird indie comics, royalty status that he has, and, like, the early 80s Letterman appearances, he, for the most part,
didn't really
was
have
just a normal dude who lived his life and worked at a, menial job.
Right. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong, I actually did like Cleveland. I like this book more than I did a lot of the other stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, I mean, because first of all, I love the artwork. I think the artwork's great.
The artwork is gorgeous in this.
Isn't it?
Yeah. It's very fine-lined, pen and ink. Super rendery, it's like a perfect balance of realistic and cartoony.
Yeah, but you know what his art reminds me of? Like, quick tangent, because but it reminds me of like someone who, I don't know, like draws the most precise, super detailed, fine line stuff, like the portraits on dollar bills.
Right.
But like, this is his sketchbook, because it's very loose.
Yeah.
It has a very loose feel, but it is super detailed, and like, yeah, it is amazing. Joseph Remnant.
Yeah, maybe I was about to say his name.
Yeah. But no, I did think. What were we talking about?
Harvey B. Carr in Cleveland.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. No, like I do like a lot. I mean, I like very much about Harvey Picard is that he doesn't sort of try to overspice things. Like, that's kind of like his angle, I guess. He's like, you can tell stories about a very normal person, and make it interesting because of their viewpoint. But at the same time, like we were talking about, it's almost like he's kind of stuck a lot of times with the same viewpoint on the same things, and he just kind of rehashes, like the fans that come to visit him, or I mean, like that was in the Vertigo comic I read this week, and it was also in this, and it was also in the movie, and I mean, yeah, it's like you would think, like, because he seems like a really intelligent guy,
Right.
that he would constantly have, like, something new to talk about, like,
Right.
even if he is in the same place.
But he even makes a point of it towards the end of this that as he's gotten older, he's because he spends a good portion of this just talking about how he just like spent a lot of his life reading and learning things, sometimes just out of spite.
Yeah, like he wanted to prove to his ex-wife that he could be smarter than her on whatever she was studying. Yeah.
But then as he gets older, he decides that he just doesn't have the energy or the interest to continue to do that stuff, and the only reason he does is because he needs to write in order to make money.
Yeah, because he's done in a lot of like biographies and like sort of like pieces about I don't know, politics and like current affairs and things over the years. So yeah, I could see him forcing himself to learn things he's not really interested in.
Right. But so yeah, I mean, part of that is he does have he's almost forced himself into that rut that is kind of prevalent in the fact that everything in this book is very familiar.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder if that was, if that's part of what made him kind of curmudgeon-y is that, he's, he admits he's like a curmudgeon.
Right, yeah.
With like this, he doesn't seem like he's incapable of joy because, he seems to like enjoy things and like have fond opinions of a lot of people and a lot of things.
Right. And he also, very early in the book, is very critical of people who don't have sense of humors.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very weird because, very little humor seems to come out of him, in anything that I've read.
Oh, yeah. I agree. Like, even like in the Vertigo series, the American Splendor series, there's a lot of funny things that happen, but it seems like he's writing about himself and, like, about real-life situations, but it always seems like the character of Harvey Pekar is like completely clueless to the humor that's going on. So it's like somehow as he's writing it, maybe he realizes the humor in life.
Right.
But as he's experiencing it, maybe only by reflection can he determine that there's humor in the world. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Even though he's a curmudgeon, he seems to like have a soft spot for Cleveland and like he seems to enjoy life, or he seems to have enjoyed life.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's another thing you start getting to the end of the book, and he starts talking about all the stuff that he's planning on doing, and then you realize that he died almost a year after he finished this or whatever.
Right.
It's very bittersweet.
Yeah.
It was kind of almost hard to get to the end, and even the ending itself just sort of kind of happens.
Right.
There's, again, it's autobiographical, and it's also a history of the city, so there's really no ending.
Right.
Except for the fact that he died.
Right.
But...
But maybe it's trying to say, because, Harvey Pekar's Cleveland, maybe he's still alive in the fact that, he's kind of permeated that city for the better part of a century.
Right.
And, he is alive in a lot of things and a lot of people there, maybe. Maybe that's what they're trying to say. Like all the bookstores and all the, I don't know, all the, the jazz and, the whole, jazz scene.
Right.
Maybe he is part of Cleveland, maybe?
Yeah.
I know that's as cheesy as saying Cleveland is a character in the story, but maybe that's what they're going
for. It's on a very, very small scale. You and I were talking yesterday about the possibility of you not working at Mavericks anymore. And it's sort of Mavericks won't be the same without Jason, and Jason just won't be the same without Mavericks either. It's so, Harvey and Cleveland, are very intertwined in the same way.
Right. Yeah.
But, at the same time, it's sort of Cleveland is still gonna go on without him.
Right. As opposed to Mavericks, which will just live and die when I leave.
Probably. Hate to say it. Probably.
No, I don't think so. But, But oh, that's what I was going to say before. Is even though he's curmudgeon, I mean, you know, he's not even though, but since he was this curmudgeon,
Right.
do you think maybe he wouldn't have been so like that if he like just kind of, you know, was a little looser and like he wasn't cramming all this information into his life and like trying to learn all these things? Like, I mean, not that I don't mean like not learn things, but you know, just like he sort of had this like you said, bitter obsession about like he had to know all this stuff and. He couldn't enjoy it because of it was like work, you know.
I don't know, because I mean, no matter where he lived or whatever, he would have probably done the same thing. It's just, I think, part of his personality that was ingrained from the beginning. You know, I mean, just because we do get a little bit of that in the early part of the book where he grew up and. His parents were never around, and he was in a neighborhood where nobody would be his friend, and
spent a lot of time with like either his grandparents or the neighbor men who took him to ball games.
Right, yeah, and so, I mean, when you're a kid left alone, you know, you generally tend to
seek out
something,
yeah.
You know, and reading is obviously the easiest thing anyone can do,
right?
You know, and so you know, probably just from that he just sort of. You know, develop that whole, you know, I have to do something,
right?
And, you know, this is what I do, you know, and he just never let go of that.
Yeah, I can see that.
But, you know, there's another part to that where, you know, sort of, his obsession or whatever, her, maybe just a compulsion or just
for knowledge and...
not just knowledge, but you know, there's a section of the book where I think it's his second wife. Like you know, she's studying to you know have a PhD or whatever, and he basically tells her that you know if she's gonna leave, then you know they're gonna break up. And because he doesn't want to leave Cleveland because he worked too hard to get the position at his job,
his file clerk job,
right? Yeah, and he's not going to give that up for anything.
Yeah,
you know, it's just like if he was maybe relaxed on that a little bit, because he can find a job anywhere.
Oh yeah,
especially like in New York or wherever, you know?
Right? Yeah, that is bizarre. I mean, yeah, there's something about him. Maybe you're right. Compulsion is the right word because. I mean, he even was still a file clerk, like, after he was, you know, quote-unquote famous.
Right.
Like, after he was doing decent from his writing.
So I think if I remember from the movie, they actually filmed his retirement party.
Yeah. So, yeah. Wow. Yeah, that is odd. And that's another thing about him, too. Like, I mean, usually, you know, like, if you read works of fiction by... a writer, you know, you're always interested in the writer too. I mean, like you like their work, and then you all of a sudden become interested in like, well, I wonder what they're like. You know, what do they do?
Yeah.
But like his work is about him,
right?
And he is not interesting usually. I mean, you know, he's a pretty basic guy,
right?
So I mean, that is a bizarre like little dichotomy,
right?
Because you don't really want to learn more about him because
it's all there anyway. Yeah.
So it's like what you know. Yeah, it's strange. He's a very like I said, like his work never like hit me hard and affected me, like when I was a kid or even I mean ever really like but I respect him as much as anyone who's ever written a comic. You know?
I can agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said earlier, I've read maybe 3-4 things total, and like including this, like, and I didn't love any of it.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
you know?
Exactly.
Yeah, like I didn't put this book down and say, well, that was a waste of a couple hours.
Yeah.
Like it was just like, oh, okay.
Because he did do something amazing.
Yeah.
And like especially coming from the background that he came from, and like, he wasn't trained. I mean, he just read a lot.
Right.
And he you know saw Robert Crumb's comics, and he was like, you know, oh, I could do comics. And
right.
I know he started doing comics before I was even born. I don't know if that was the first autobiographical. I really don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I know he started in the mid-70s. And,
early 70s, actually.
Was it?
Yeah.
And, yeah, I mean, that is amazing to me that, you know, just some guy was like, oh, I'm just going to write about my life, even though I don't really do anything that interesting, you know. I mean, yeah, I mean, that, to me, I totally respect that, like, trying something like that.
That's, you know, because I like comics, and, you know, I think there's still a part of me that would like to make comics at some point.
Mm-hmm.
But I hardly ever have any ideas, and I would never, ever think about writing about my life. Because there is absolutely nothing that happens. So, like, what is it about his personality or his mental state that says that, you know, oh, well, I get up and I go to work and I come home and I listen to records and read books that would make an interesting story for other people to read.
Right.
You know?
Well, I wonder, too, though, if he hadn't made comics until, you know, like the 90s or something, if people would care as much, because, you know, I mean, back then in the 70s, I mean, like, that was probably way different than anything anybody was doing.
It was also still part of the underground comic scene.
Yeah. So, like, he's sort of like, you know, I don't know, the grandfather of Autobio comics or something, where, you know, maybe this book is only made because of all the respect and all the, you know, all the fans that he's garnered over the years.
Right.
Whereas if he would just come out of nowhere now, people would be like, well, it's got to be about something, Harv, you know.
Right. Well, you know, there's still people who do autobio comics, you know, Jeffrey Brown, and, you know, a slew of mini comics creators out there.
Yeah.
But, you know, I guess at the same time, though, would they be doing that if it weren't for Picard doing it back in the 70s?
Yeah. So I, you know, like, I do autobio comics, and I was inspired by, like, Chester Brown and all of those guys in the 80s.
Right.
But I know they were inspired by Harvey. Like, Harvey, I've seen Chester Brown, he did a book once where he had Harvey Picard write the introduction to it. I mean, you know, he's clearly a huge fan. And, yeah, so I mean, like, you know, like I said, my respect for Harvey Picard far, far outshines my enjoyment of his work.
Right.
But I do.
It's kind of how I feel about Guided by Voices.
Yeah.
Yeah. I respect what he's done, Robert Pollard, but I would pay you not to listen to Guided by Voices.
Well, that's funny, because that's the song I was picking for.
Except for the fact that I'd actually be more open to reading anything by Harvey Picard than listening to anything by Robert Pollard.
You know, I have never read any of Harvey's just fiction work, like he did. I don't know, like Macedonia. I mean that's not fiction, but I mean, it's not autobiographical.
Right.
That's what I meant. But I don't know if he's ever written just fiction, but I've never read anything that he wrote that wasn't about himself.
Right.
So I'm curious to see, like, just his take on things, because I mean, you know, he used to do reviews of jazz records and things like that. So you know, I'm sure he has viewpoints on other things, and you know, I'd be curious to see it.
I think it'd be almost weird to read a comic by him that just didn't have like a little cartoon version of him scowling in every panel or something.
Yeah. Yeah, page there's a. I was going to mention that specifically. There's on page 102 of this book is the best picture of Harvey Picard I've ever seen. It's just the third panel. It's just like this wordless panel of him just standing there, and he looks so, like, kind of, you know, and it totally represents exactly what I think of when I think of Harvey Picard comics.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's perfect. I don't know, so maybe we should talk about his art. About Joe's art.
Yeah, we already did.
Yeah, but I mean...
Well, it's beautiful art.
Yeah, I mean...
We described it. What else is there to say?
Well, I mean, I think honestly, to me, I think he, you know, was the main reason I enjoyed the book.
Okay.
Like, the artwork was... I think the artwork was just incredible.
Yeah, I think that was implied with what we said earlier.
Yeah. But, I'd seen his artwork before, and the first time I ever saw it, the first thing I immediately thought of was Robert Crumb. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, because it looks...
Crummish kind of stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't... I wouldn't say it's a rip-off of Crumb.
No,
because it has its own thing.
Yeah.
But it's clearly influenced, and I thought it was, you know, just kind of like perfect that they chose him to do this, because, you know, Crumb did a lot of American Splendor.
Right.
And, Yeah, I love the art. I mean, like, you know, like I'm guessing I don't know, I don't know if he's from Cleveland or what, but maybe.
It says in the back he's from L.A.
LA? Okay. Is it near Cleveland?
It's
Like
right across the lake.
The lake, okay.
Yeah.
So maybe he did a lot of research as far as the cityscape, but I mean, it's beautiful and like the backgrounds are amazing. Like there's just so much going on in there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing more Joseph Remnant work.
He's got his own self-published comic out.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's good too. That's the one that's where I first saw his art. Because I bought it like a year ago.
Okay.
And yeah, it's really neat. It's kind of weird too. It's like not straight, you know, narrative. It's kind of strange.
Not interested.
It's funny though. It's funny. Yeah, but Harvey Picar's Cleveland.
Yeah,
pretty good.
Yeah, it's fine. It's probably the best thing I can say about it.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, the art is amazing. The story, it's fine.
You know.
I'm kind of coming off of this much like I did Zodiac. There's nothing really terrible I can say about it, but you know.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, it by any means is not a bad comic. I don't know if it was worth $22 for it.
Yeah.
Maybe wait until it's a soft cover.
It is a top shelf's first thing that they've done with Harvey Picar, which I thought was, you know, interesting because he's self-published. He's he's self-published. He's done like I think Dark Horse has done. Have Dark Horse done?
I think they did some American Splendor.
Yeah,
and Vertigo, DC. Yeah.
So yeah, that's cool that his work is kind of spread out.
Yeah.
Maybe like I don't know, like it has a very like even just the design of the book, it kind of has a different look and feel than the other stuff I've seen by Harvey Picar. So maybe that'll.
But at the same time, it has the exact same look and feel of a top shelf comic.
Exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it'll get a new audience for him. You know, people that hadn't seen his stuff.
I'm guessing that anyone who reads a top shelf comic has probably already read a Harvey Picar comic before.
I don't know. I mean, I don't think a lot of people read Harvey Picar comics.
Well, not a lot of people read comics.
Oh, that's true.
Highest selling comic sells 100,000 copies.
Yeah.
There's billions of people in the world.
Yeah.
Comics are a drop in a proverbial bucket.
And a lot of those people are buying multiple copies so they can send their kids
Avengers versus X-Men.
Yeah. So they can get that variant cover. I mean, But, yeah, not my favorite auto-bio stuff, but definitely worth looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Alright.
Really cool?
Yeah.
That's a review, right?
I was ready to end it 10 minutes ago.
Okay. Yeah, you didn't want to talk about Joe's
Because we already did!
I was just supposed to say it was good.
Yeah, that's all you need.
Okay.
It's not about him, it's about Harvey Picar.
Well, he did half the work.
Well, he did most of the work.
Yeah.
It's still not about him.
Yeah. He's the unsung hero of this book.
Yeah. Alright, let's take a break.
Sounds good.
Like I said,
Hey, welcome back to Gutter Trash. So is it Picar or Picar?
It's Picar.
Yeah, it's Picar, okay. I don't know if it was like pecan, you know.
Right.
Just like different people pronounce it different ways.
Yeah.
I feel like in the movie it was always, from my memory, it's Picar.
It was Picar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. And, yeah. The movie?
Yeah.
Awesome movie.
Oh, excellent movie.
Yeah. It really did, the book made me want to read that, or watch that again.
Right.
That's
Yeah,
why
same here.
That's why my pick is American Splendor.
Oh, alright. Well, I own it, so
Yeah.
there we go. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, that was easy. No. Yeah. So, buddy,
Yeah, friend.
how's the haps?
Nothing.
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 Nothing. Yeah. Huh. Yeah.
Yeah, I got nothing. I watched a terrible movie today.
Oh?
Or part of a terrible movie.
What was it?
It's called Brand Upon the Brain.
Brand Upon the Brain.
Yep.
Huh.
It's a Canadian movie. A silent movie made in 2006. About a person who has the same name as the director of the movie, so you know that there's no ego involved.
Oh, yeah.
Who returns to his the lighthouse in which he grew up on his mother's request that he paint it before she dies. And then he remembers back to his childhood where his father performed weird experiments on kids, and there was a teenage detective who came to the island to investigate what was happening. And then she started posing as a boy in order to seduce the kid's sister. And her mother, the mother, could see and hear everything from the top of the light tower.
Man.
And it was all done in like super weird, fast, MTV style editing with like, you know, really weird imagery, like flickering throughout all the shots,
yeah.
and then like title cards would come up, and then it was narrated by well, the default narration was by Isabella Rossellini,
Oh, yeah. I like her.
but you could also choose from a variety of different people who had narrated it when the film was on tour,
Oh, wow, really?
including a Crispin Glover. Who I listened to his narration for about 5 minutes before I switched back to Isabella Rossellini.
Yeah, she has a better voice.
Yeah. And then eventually just ejected the movie, because even about 20 minutes in, I was like, is it too late to call this pretentious piece of bullshit?
What was it called?
Brand Upon the Brain.
Brand Upon the Brain. Huh.
Directed by Guy Madden. And the lead character's name was Guy Madden.
Different guy, though. Different guy, Madden?
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
I guess. I don't know. Whatever. If you name your characters your name in your movie, then you should kill yourself.
Oh.
Joe Barton.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think he listens.
Oh, no, I don't know who that is. Yeah.
He's a guy I used to work with who made a movie that
Okay.
you and I have both seen.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I gotcha.
I'm kidding. Joe shouldn't kill himself.
Sweet. Well,
But every other director who names a
that,
character their own name in a movie should definitely kill themselves.
what if it's just their first name and then, like, it's a different last name?
Depends on what the first name is.
Hmm.
If your first name is Guy and you name a character Guy,
Right.
then...
But if it's like Jeff or Bill... that's
Right,
okay.
then, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Okay.
Unless it's not a biographical movie.
Well, that would make sense.
There. Are there any of those other than just documentaries?
Biographical movies?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. I know there's shitloads of biographical movies.
Right, right.
Yeah, I don't know.
And, you know,
Like-
just documentaries featuring, you know, a guy doing
Right.
something, but, you know.
Michael Moore? I mean, those aren't really
Yeah.
documentaries.
Those are documentaries.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing I know of.
Yeah. It was just
Tell
a
us.
weird thought that...
Tell us if you know.
Don't bother.
No.
Because my interest in this is gone.
It's fading.
Yeah, it is gone. It was gone as soon as I said it.
You're like, why did I say that? I don't care.
But you?
I haven't seen any movies at all.
No?
No. Good nor bad. I did go to a wedding yesterday. That was something. That was kind of cool. One of our listeners actually got married.
Oh?
Yeah, Jeremy Anderson.
Oh, wow. Little Jeremy.
Yep.
Yeah, how come I didn't get invited?
Well, he gave me a +1. I think he assumed it was going to be you, but I brought Kathleen instead. So that's probably more my fault than his.
I still should have gotten my own invitation, but now I'm going to redirect my anger at you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool though.
Well, congratulations, Jeremy.
Yeah, seriously, him and Jessica are husband and wife, which is awesome. That's the way you do the marriage thing.
That is usually how a marriage works.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you can do the 2 husbands and the 2 wives thing.
Well, of course,
in
yeah.
certain states, at least.
Yeah. And by all means, go for it if you can.
Yeah.
In general, though, a wedding is when 2 people come together and...
a union of sorts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And come out of it the other end as whatever you want to call yourselves. Yeah.
In this case, the Andersons.
Yes.
Yeah, it was an outdoor wedding, which was awesome. You're like, I'm glad I didn't go. Thanks for not inviting me. It wasn't too hot yesterday. It was warm.
It was really hot yesterday.
It was nowhere near as bad as today, though.
It was, it was an evening thing, wasn't it?
It was like 6:30.
It got cooler throughout the day, but
Right.
I know I went out around noon yesterday and almost immediately retreated back indoors.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, yeah. I don't want to go to no noon outside wedding in the summer. Yeah.
Yeah, my cousin, 10 years ago or so, got married outdoors in Atlanta. It was like 95 degrees out. It was fucking awful.
Yeah. There's no, like, gazebo or tent even?
Nope.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, there were some shady spots to stay in. It was pretty nice.
There were some trees in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't help.
So, yeah.
Even the reception was outside.
Oh, this one was in a German hall.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool. There was like
Lots of Nazi memorabilia everywhere.
I mean, that was sort of their wedding theme.
Oh,
Anyway.
okay, right.
Like the armbands and the fake square mustache.
Of course,
Jeremy. But yeah. At least I think it was fake. I mean, he has been wearing that for like a year and a half. But
Right.
I mean, I thought maybe just since the proposal, he's grew it, just to perfect it.
You're just trying to bring it back.
Yeah.
Like Michael Jordan did.
Yeah. Did he do that?
Oh, yeah.
The Nazi.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Right? You got Jordan, Chaplin, and Hitler. That's pretty good company,
And our friend Stephen Alexander
Oh, yeah.
also tried to bring it back.
And Merle Allen, bass player from the Murder Junkies, had
there we
one
go.
of those for a while. So, yeah, I don't know. 3 out of 5 ain't bad, I guess. But, yeah, so that was cool. And then, other than that, another exciting thing I got to do, I think I told you about this, but I'll share it because I was pretty stoked about it. There was a local comic strip contest at a high school.
Yep.
And I was like, at spur of the moment, I was asked to come co-judge it with another like local artist who I'd never met. So that was really cool. It was at Fairmont, and all these kids did like their version, basically like a BC comic strip. It's just like a caveman story, but I thought there was some pretty impressive. Like I honestly didn't expect to like really actually like any of them.
Right.
But I thought like
Because kids are terrible.
Kids are bad.
Yeah.
They shouldn't draw.
No.
You should take their crayons away and like, have them drawn and quartered.
The kids.
The kids, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, save those crayons for the adults.
Exactly.
No, but seriously, like no kidding, there was like 5 or 6 of them that I thought were awesome. Like they were like, if they did comics, I would be buying them. I don't know. I was impressed.
So it was better than that one time that you and I went to teach a class of kids? Because those kids were terrible.
One of those kids was awesome. Remember that one kid that did like 3 comic strips in that one time? I forget. But I mean, of course, those kids were like 5, and like the high school kids were like, I don't know, 12. How old are high school kids?
12.
Yeah.
Actually, I think most of the kids we taught, and I say that with quotes.
Yeah.
I think they were anywhere between like 6 and 14.
Yeah, there were some like middle school kids there. Yeah. Yeah, that was fun. But yeah, it's been my exciting week.
Yeah. So who won?
Well, I narrowed.
What did they win?
I helped. Well, everybody got cookies first of all, so everybody
fuck
wins.
That.
Everybody wins.
Fuck that.
But no, some of the actual, like, I think there's going to be like 3 top spots. But he didn't want to. The guy that I was co-judging with was sort of in charge of it, and he didn't want to pick right then. So he had me tell him the ones I liked the best, and he said he was going to go home and like, do something up where he like post them and post the winners so they can see it.
That also seems like bullshit.
Like they didn't find out right then on the spot. Well, he didn't want to ruin their day like the losers.
Oh, fuck that. That's why you're in a competition.
That's why the cookies were there, to heal the wounds.
Yeah, this is all bullshit. Only winners get cookies.
Okay.
The winner finds out that day to get those cookies.
All right.
Everybody else, suck it the fuck up, kids.
You get to watch winners eat cookies.
Exactly. Yeah. That's your prize.
That's second place. You and all the other
Third
losers.
place is you're fired.
Second place is you and all the other losers get to watch the winner eat cookies. So, yeah.
Cookies are for closers.
Closers?
Yeah. Gary Glenn Ross.
Yeah. I can't remember that.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. No, that was it. It was fun. It was like, it was cool to see some of the art. So, I liked it.
Yeah.
I liked it. Good job, kids. You all deserve a cookie.
Nope.
No matter what Eric says.
Mm-mm.
They tried to give me a cookie. And I said,
You don't deserve a cookie.
I know. See, I'm with you on that one. I was like, no, save it for the kids. Give it to the janitor or something.
No, he didn't do anything.
He had to clean up all those cookie crumbs.
That's his job. He gets rewarded with a paycheck and somewhat stability.
Yeah.
Until he, diddles a few kids in the bathroom. Like all janitors will do.
Oh, we don't know that. We assume it, but we don't know it. Oh, man. What if there's a janitor listening to the show and he's
Diddling a kid right now?
diddling the kid and he's like, that's ironic. This is the first time I've ever done this. Here, Timmy, you can have another cookie.
Well, clearly, then he needs to focus if he's listening to us while he's doing that.
Yeah.
Just do one or the other.
Yeah.
Put down your iPod and go diddle that kid.
Oh, God. It's gonna be our, like, tagline on your next revamp of the site, isn't it? Oh, man. Don't diddle kids, janitors of the world.
Just janitors.
Yeah. Everybody else, garbage men, presidents, Mavericks, coworkers. Keep it up.
Ooh, who are you talking about?
Most of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Most of them.
Just the magic.
Yeah. Oh, man. So awkward.
Maybe we should just quit.
Yeah. Yeah, before it spirals out of control.
Yeah.
Before we venture into territory best left unventured into. Well, I do have a movie in mind if you want me to hop to that.
I don't know, sure. Yeah. I don't really have anything else to talk about.
I didn't.
Other than, I almost thought about murdering you today, but, it was just,
Really?
yeah.
Today?
Uh-huh.
Well, why?
For a donut. And maybe a Pepsi.
Oh, well, why would you murder me? Why wouldn't you just call me an
Because I think I would really murder someone if they had a donut and a Pepsi.
Oh, like if I would have brought one over?
Yeah.
Well, you could have called me and said, hey, pick up some snacks on the way over.
Oh, I can't do that.
Yeah. Well.
There's a reason that I would resort to murder for a donut and a Pepsi.
Yeah.
And,
You got any cash on you?
Huh?
Don't have any cash on you.
Well, that is a huge part of the reason. But not the main reason.
If you would have participated and lost in the comic strip contest, you would have got a cookie.
I couldn't have eaten the cookie.
Oh, okay.
And also, I wouldn't have accepted if I didn't win.
So you would play by the rules if you weren't the winner or the judge. Okay.
You're offering me if you're just offering cookies, then I'm going to take a cookie, even though I can't have a cookie. But
Well, no, they offered cookies before we even looked at the. I mean, he passed.
well, then
around.
that's not a prize.
Yeah.
Yeah, then that's fine.
Well, I'm saying everybody got cookies, not because
You made it sound as if everybody participated and then they got a cookie,
they
whether
turned,
they won or lost.
they turned them in. Okay, step 1 turned into the cartoon.
Okay.
Step 2, everybody gets a cookie.
Oh.
Step 3, judging happens.
No, then yeah,
You're back to your original.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
back to my stance. Yeah. If you're gonna give me a cookie as some sort of bullshit pity prize,
Well, it was partly because that was the last day for seniors, and a lot of those kids were seniors, so it was like they were having a party.
that's
anyway.
still a bullshit pity prize then for seniors.
Oh yeah, they should have got alcohol.
Well, their prize is the diploma that they get in like a week or so, whenever they do the graduation
Yeah.
ceremony.
That's true.
Yeah,
Well, a cookie tied you over. I mean, you can't go on an empty stomach for a week.
your mom will give you a cookie. Say, hey, you're done with school now. Here's a cookie. Until I find out that you failed and you have to repeat.
Hey, it's worth it.
Hey, it might happen.
Yeah, that's true. Some of those kids not too bright, I would
Nope.
imagine, right? I know.
Eating school children.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's Kettering. They're all smart. Yeah. You just 3 blocks down the road, they're all dumb. But
Alter?
yeah. Do you name me one person that graduated from Alter that has any lick of sense?
Joe Criminal.
Yeah, that's okay. That's the one.
Yeah, pick a movie.
I have a movie in mind. It's called Hesher.
Oh, okay.
Have you ever seen it?
I have not,
Me neither.
but I want to.
Yeah, me too.
All right.
Let's watch Hesher.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah, it does. Look it up.
It's,
Hesher.
Yep.
If you're trying to spell it out there.
It's got Joseph Gordon-Levitt
Mm-hmm.
and probably some other people.
Maybe. Unless it's one man show. Which
I don't think it is.
I don't believe it is.
Yeah, not a lot of movies do that.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
Mm-mm. For good reason.
yeah.
Can you imagine Lord of the Rings, the one man show?
It'd be pretty weird.
The epic battle just loses a little something.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. All right, Escher. Yeah, I've been looking forward to seeing that at some point.
Cool.
So let's do that.
Yes, sir.
Excellent.
All right. Everyone, go eat your cookies. You're all winners in our book.
You don't get cookies. Goodbye. You can subscribe to Gutter Trash at iTunes or directly at guttertrash.net. If you go to iTunes, please leave us a review. You can email us at eric@guttertrash.net or jason@guttertrash.net. For more info, you can find us on Facebook, or you can go to seanborn.net or buyerbeware.guttertrash.net. Listen to our sister podcast, League Night, at league.guttertrash.net. Thank you for listening. Until next time.